Hi everybody, Jim Benson here from Modus Cooperandi and Modus Institute. I'm going to talk today about Gemba Walks for knowledge work using an Obeya. So first, what's a Gemba? So Gembas are quite simply where our work actually happens. You could call them the crime scene. It's a place where there's actually something to see. And those are usually on the factory floor, right? So we go, there's a problem in the factory, we go to the factory floor and we take a look at what's actually happening. And that sounds like, well, duh, but it's actually something that we very rarely do. When a problem comes along, we very seldom go to the point of the problem and actually try and figure out what the root causes are for that problem happening. We tend instead to blame people and get frustrated and yell and scream and say, like, how could you let this happen? Well, it usually happens because there's a system set up that made it happen, and we would like that system to go away. So a Gemba Walk does exactly that. We go to where that system is. We're able to see the system. We're able to touch it. We're able to evaluate it. We're able to understand it, and not just as an individual, but as a group. So we're looking as a group at the same stimuli. We're taking it in, we're interpreting it, we're talking about it as we interpret it, and then we're coming up with shared observations, shared conclusions, and adding our own individual perspectives. So we have 5 people there, we talk about it for a while, we align around a possible solution, or we align at least around acknowledging that this is a problem that needs to be solved. And what we're not doing is just saying, you're in trouble for this problem, right? So we would go to this Gemba where these things are being added to these things to build these things until it looks like that thing. A linear flow of work that is generally laid out in a fairly logical way and that allow us to go and usually see a pretty clear path between problem that has shown up and solution. In knowledge work, we start to run into the problem here, which you can see that even here in this factory and then in this factory, we see that stuff was not clear enough. That even the physical objects of something moving along the assembly line still needed us to have some graphics saying these are our goals, these are our objectives, these are our metrics, this is how we're doing against those metrics, these are observations that we have, things that do best when they're visualized so that we can see patterns, right? So knowledge work is hard because we don't have physical work to look at. We have some KPIs, maybe we have some metrics, but by and large, our work is invisible. And that invisibility means that our goals are hidden, our actions are hidden, our decisions are hidden, the implications of the work that we're doing is hidden, which ends up creating crushing workloads because we become overloaded, because we have kept the information about our work hidden and invisible. Our work is also incredibly nonlinear. We'll come up with an idea, we'll do a little bit of work, some people will look at it, some other people will look at that, other people still will make some determinations, and it will spin around in this edit cycle for a completely unpredictable amount of time until it pops out and we have a product. Okay, very hard for us to come up with a linear vision of how that works every time. So the Obeya starts to show us the impact of this work that we're doing. It shows us that we can be successful from time to time by actually showing us, this work was completed. It shows us impediments. It shows us different things that are standing in our way from getting from where we are now to completion. And it shows us direction. It shows us our experiments. It is one place where we can go and see everything. and it becomes our Gemba. Okay. Within that Gemba, one of these visualizations for us should always be a kanban, because the kanban is the most basic visualization you can have. And it shows us workflow. It shows us expectations of ourselves, of our work, and of each other. It shows us where we can help. And again, it shows success. So important that I put it in here twice. You can see it in there twice. We'll make it its own color because it's that important. Success is something that we very rarely take credit for in knowledge work. We're so panicked trying to get work done so fast that we don't acknowledge success. By and large, I bet you that almost every one of these visualizations is a success-based metric. This is where we made our numbers. This is where we produced the right amount of things. This is where we exceeded our goals. In knowledge work, we're terrible at that. So we want to be able to see that we've successfully completed things, and we want to see the things that are stopping us from getting there. So let's take a Gemba walk now at Modus Institute or Modus Cooperandi. So this is our Gemba. This is our Obeya. This is where we, Tony Ann, Dave, Julie, me, and everyone else at Modus, this is where we track our work. So you'll see in here that there are sections: Modus Daily Operations, Creation and Products, Sales, PR, etc. That's because as knowledge workers, our work isn't linear and we don't do the same things from day to day or minute to minute. We don't have a value stream that will allow us to plot out all of the steps we're taking for all of the different things that we're building all of the time. So we have to juggle this. We have to make sure that we're visualizing this in a way that lets us see the information we need to see. And it turns out that some of that indeed is operational or like productivity, but a lot of it is just literally just talking to each other. So this is right now exactly 100% fully truthfully our Kanban that we're using for our group. We have stuff that's coming up later. We have work that we need to do now. And we have here things that we need from each other quickly. So tomorrow I'm going to go to Nebraska. So when I'm in Nebraska, I want to work with Julie to clean up the social media plan. Our needs is its own work item type. And it doesn't matter what kind of work it is. It's something that I need from somebody else, and they need to know that I'm counting on them, or that they're counting on me, or that we've agreed to get together and do this work, whatever that might be. Then obviously we have our work that's in flight. I had this sitting over here earlier, and I'll pull that over just to illustrate. So today I had this call with Jeremy. There's a little sticky on here that says today at noon. So everyone knows, they could look in my calendar, yes, but here they know this is something people have been waiting for me to do, and they know when it's going to happen. Okay, it's complete. So I'm going to go ahead and move that over to done. Over here we have waiting. So we have some things that I'm waiting on other people, or we're all waiting on other people. Tony Ann's waiting here, I'm waiting here. And again, the red stickies are notes to each other. Over here, and we need to talk. This is a task that Tony Ann did. It got finished, everything was fine, but in the end, she wants to get together and talk about building a better system for this particular content, right? Fairly normal Kanban, the way it would be used if it was on a wall. Completely impossible to do if it's in a normal tool. Why is this important? Because every day for us with this board is a Gemba walk. We see how everybody else is working. We see what we need from each other, and we can give improvements. So I'm going to go over to this one because it is something I can tell a quick story about. So this is our sales board, somewhat redacted because can't show you everything. But we have clients that we're courting, we have clients that were successful and that are in process, and we have clients here who have graduated. We also have things here that we lost. So these things are moving along, and they're moving along just fine. But what we do every Friday is we get together and we do our Marketing Friday, where we do a Gemba walk of this particular board. And we say, okay, what are we going to do to make less dead things and to make sure that these things that are currently in flight are working just fine. And the last thing I will show is the publication schedule. So this is how we manage all of the videos that we make for, and all of the blog posts that we make for Modus Institute. And what we have here is we have what looks like a kanban, but it's very different. And this is important because it is a constant Gemba walk. A Gemba walk is an activity that you take on where you go to visit the work that you're doing. And so in this case, we're visiting this board to see the work that we're doing specifically in the manufacturing of this content. So we have the description of the content, we have the video, we have the write-up, we have the links, we have whether it's been on YouTube, Medium, LinkedIn, etc., where it's been published. And here you can see that we have things that are in process, things that need my attention, things that need Tony Ann's attention, things that are ready for release. So right now we're almost ready to release the Learned Helplessness video. That Learned Helplessness video has the link here for where the video lives. I know that Tony Ann's working on it. I know that currently Dave is working on getting the links ready, and the video itself is done and it's already uploaded to the site. Important thing to note here is, let me go back out to there, is that in managing overload, Tony has reviewed some of it, and these yellow cards are notes to me. See? Those are timestamps and things that need to be edited in that particular video. And then when this becomes an orange ticket itself, I know that it's time for me to go in and do all of those edits. But all of these things are super visual. And that's important because let's say that Tony Ann is editing this particular video and she's going away and she's editing it, and I would notice that the edits aren't actually appropriate for that video. Like maybe there's a piece of terminology in that video that's used differently than it is elsewhere. And so she's trying to change it to some other term. And I'm saying, you don't need to do that right now. So I can see the work that she's doing and get that done. Okay. That's part of managing daily work. But for me, that's also kind of like a real-time Gemba walk. I see the problem as it's happening. I see it in the place that it's happening, in the context that it's happening, and I know where to help. I know how to go in and help. Now, all of these things, whenever we're doing anything and we see potential improvements for us, they go into this Kaizen Me section where we have all sorts of different improvements that we can put in, and then those become tickets when we discuss them to go into our Kanban. So a Gemba walk is you being able, alone or with a group, to walk through work as it is being done in the place where it's being done and experience that work and be able to make good decisions. Okay. Those can be solving problems, they can be reorienting work, or they can be just lending a hand. That is a Gemba walk for knowledge work. And this is how we do it at Modus.